So damn it, there were 10 brilliant minutes of gameplay, some of the finest I've ever seen on the Gauntlet, unrecorded, transitory vaporware. This is session 3 of 4 for Masks Mystery Academy. We take up with Lionel waking up from a haze here. So Lionel, let's go ahead and have you roll.
Okay, and I'm doing act
under pressure.
Just save here. Great. Okay, so that's 6 plus. I think it's 0. No, it's a 5.
All right. So I'm going to give you a little bit of information, but you're going to have to mark a condition.
Okay.
Okay. And they continue on, and they say 2 interesting things. One of them, they say, well, he's a gateway. I don't know what that means. It seems super dangerous to have brought him in here, but because of circumstances, time, pressure, we had to. The other woman says, that Sebastian boy, we're going to keep him under observation. His psychological type, it's wrong. It's a stupid move to bring him in here. He's a defender type. If he's in here, that could shake things up. And the other one goes, I know, but wait. And you see Wednesday turn and look at you, and she clearly sees that you're awake and that you've heard her. And what condition did you mark?
I am marking afraid.
And there is the clip clop of her heels across the sort of linoleum floor as she walks over to you. Lionel?
Yes.
Are you feeling better now?
I guess. I mean, I just woke up. Where am I? What happened?
And she looks back at the other woman. We'd had some additional testing for you, some placement testing. But your blood sugar must have been low or something because you passed out.
Passed out? That's never happened. Hey, what? Okay.
Many changes, stressful time, first time on a plane, lots of food. I saw you eat lots of sugar out of the vending machine.
Right. I mean, so why would my blood sugar be low?
Well, blood sugar, it burns out of your system. Sugar goes through you very quickly, that kind of thing.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, how long do I need to be here?
Oh, we're done here.
Oh, okay.
You should go back to where your rest of your class is.
Sure. And, slowly get out of bed and gather my things and head out, kind of glancing over my shoulder at her.
Okay. And you'll open a door, and you will see Una kind of run past the door, and you can hear some shouting down the hallway from another voice, and you're like, and we're going to cut right to that as you walked out into the middle of that scene. So let me describe what is going on. Right now, Rosa, there are these 2 figures that you can barely make out in the shadows that have grabbed onto your still flattened form and are running with it down the hallway. You see your Theo is clearly chasing after you and them. And then Doot is a little further back, chasing after you. So I think we Rosa, I wanted to, because you kind of got the end scene where you were sort of cut off at the end. So I'm going to come to you and see what you're doing. Does that seem fair?
Sure.
Okay. So two figures are kind of pulling you, feel the air rushing past you. They're kind of, they clearly kind of know the place, and they're moving down the hallway. What do you want to try and do?
So I think we'd sort of ended on her like catching sight of Theo and squeaking out a sort of Theo, as she's being drug away. And I think, yeah, like I'm struggling, and sort of I can't speak very loudly because there's not a lot of like lung capacity going on, so I'm more sort of squeak mumbling at them, and I don't think I can pull out of their grip. So I start like just desperately like trying to scratch at my hands, but the whole thing came from like a horrible botch. So I don't think I can even manage to tear my own skin yet and try and change into something else.
Okay. Is there any? Do you want to do like a pierce the mask or read the scenes? Any kind of move? Or do we want to cut to the other group here? What would you like?
Yeah, I am angry, so I'm gonna turn a glare onto one of them. I'll say I can, not the one in lead, because I can just sort of see the back of his head. So the one that's sort of behind me, between me and Theo.
Okay.
Let's see, basic moves.
So if you want to try intimidate, that's directly engaging a threat. Or if you want to pierce the mask to figure out who they are, one of them is, you could do that.
I would love to directly engage or like shut them down or something, but again, I think I'm really unintimidating at the moment.
Yes.
So I think maybe pierce the mask is going to be it for now.
Okay. Let's have you roll mundane.
Uh-oh.
Not your strength.
I'm not terrible at it though. Okay.
Yeah, but not your strength, but not terrible.
Geez, wow. That's an 11.
That's an 11. All right. So you can ask two questions. Let me describe this person to you that's grabbing you. In fact, I will. If you look at the NPC's students, you see there are two new young ladies on there. One looks maybe Hispanic. It's hard to tell in the light. Has kind of an angry look on her face. The other one is a redhead with these pigtails that are kind of flapping as they're running.
So which one is the one behind me that I'm looking at?
The one you're looking at, you tell me. Which one do you want to read?
Redhead.
Redhead. Okay. So what questions do you want to ask? I've got examples there. You can ask something else.
Yeah, I'm gonna start by looking her up and down and just reading every weakness she has. So how could I gain influence over you?
She's dressed, I don't want to say shabbily, but it has a look of hand-me-downs. And while she's in a position of power here, you think that she's probably in whatever group she's in, probably more at the bottom of the totem pole, and that if you can get her isolated, you can probably crush her spirit.
Okay, so social pecking order tools out of the way. Let's get to my actual physical danger. What are they really planning here?
They're clearly running you somewhere, like they're going to drop you somewhere, like in a pool or something, or that's clearly that it's not like they're actually going to do real harm to you, but they're clearly doing this because this is hilarious.
So as my sort of like close out there, I'm just going to weakly squeak at the one behind me. Let me go, you basic bitch Catholic school reject. I will end your existence. I say, like, weakly trying to struggle out of her.
Perfect. Let's cut to Theo. Theo, they're running. They've got a head start on you. They kind of know the area, but you're trying to catch up. So what do you do?
So Theo, having just cursed very loudly in French and impulsively started running after, am I going to fight these people? What am I going to do here? I think that though, in these kind of high pressure situations, he's used to this is the time when he usually extends his powers to get him and Gabriella out of a scrape. So I think I would like to try and unleash here to get maybe a vision of something ahead of the party that are chasing him, some sort of terrain thing, something about the school that I can use to my advantage, and then I can maybe defend and save her. But something that, would cause them to trip or corner them somewhere, something like that.
Okay, why don't you roll then freak?
All right. That's definitely a fail. That's a 3 without any modifiers.
So you're going to mark a condition. And you kind of reach your mind out. You're trying to read the path here. And for a second, you get a vision of the house, of the floor, but it's changing even as you're looking at it, even as you're moving. And you will actually lose your balance and go tumbling down this set of side stairs, like go down a flight. Rosa, you see Theo, and whatever heroic rescue you'd planned, Theo.
So much for saving the girl.
Yeah. Good news is you get to mark potential.
Hey. Ding, ding, ding.
Dude, now you have 2 things to deal with.
Yes. Well, actually 3, because I've got Lionel.
Yeah, Lionel's, glance back. Lionel's behind you.
And I sort of turn and I go, they've taken the new girl. We got to chase them down. And then she'll kind of keep on running, assuming that Lionel will join her. And essentially she wants to get just close enough so that she can, how should we say? She would like to instill them with a little dread, if that makes any sense. So I suppose that's actually unleash my power.
Oh, you want to run up and try and serenade them. Okay.
Yeah, essentially, I have a violin. Those things are astoundingly loud in close quarters. So that's, but yeah, of course, I need to be rolling on that. So, okay. And then when you do unleash your power, you're rolling freak?
No. Yes. I'm looking at different things. Okay. So yes, in fact, you are.
All right, let's see what happens then. So I rolled a 9, and with a +1 from freak, I believe that gives me a 10.
All right.
So I'm hit them with like that sort of very classic, what do you say, little dread thread from all the scary movies where the suspense is going up and something's going to go wrong.
So yeah, that will hit. Mind you, your companions probably feel a little bit of it, but you did roll a 7 and 9 or below, so they're not going to be also feeling that dread heavily. But Rosa, it will amplify your discomfort, and they will kind of come out, and they that clearly hits them, and they hesitate, come out into like a cross room, and they've kind of stopped, and there's clearly somebody else in that room. You can see from where you're at that somebody else is in there. Lionel, what do you want to do?
So I just walked out into a scene of
chaos.
Dude just yelled, "They're taking the new girl." I'm looking bewildered, but I kind of trust Dude at this point. So I'm gonna follow along with her, and then I guess I see these 2 girls chasing a third girl that I don't recognize.
Well,
right?
Actually, what you see is 2 girls, and they're holding what looks like a paper cutout, like a flat paper cutout of a girl.
Oh, okay.
It's colored just like the wallpaper.
Yeah. You're like, okay.
Interesting. So I guess, it looks like Dude's trying to stop these 2.
Yes, now she's playing.
Right.
as she's running.
So as they're running down the hallways, can we say these doors open out into the hallway? Like the doors to classrooms?
Yeah, you could do that.
So I'm going to open a door right in front of one of them so they run smack into it.
Okay. So let's have you roll Unleash.
Okay. That is a 11. I believe. No, it didn't.
Oh.
It didn't roll for some reason. Sorry.
Oh. Sometimes it gets temperamental.
A 10.
A 10. So they've kind of like hesitated, like they've kind of lost their footing a little bit because of that dread. And then this door catches them, Rosa, and they go crashing out into this room. And Rosa, you go, like a piece of paper falling to the floor. And these two girls have both kind of crashed to the floor. And you will see there's this young man in there. And I've put his picture in the NPC students thing. And he says, "What are you doing?" And he kind of starts walking over towards where they are, and they look a little cowed. Like they're kind of, you're not sure whether worried or scared or didn't want him to see this or what. Rosa, let's cut back to you.
So I'm like sort of bendy paper doll style, like awkwardly trying to get up on my hands and knees and turn my face plane towards this new guy. I look up at him and say, "They're preparing for their own funerals. That's what they're doing." I'm desperately looking around for something sharp that I can tear myself on.
And he will reach out and he will say, "No, don't worry. Let's get you settled. Let's get you back to normal. Someone like you shouldn't be treated like this."
Just like that does sort of stop her anger steam for a moment, but now she's going back to the last overwhelming emotion she had, which is extreme shame and embarrassment, as she suddenly realizes what she looks like, and this guy is pretty cute and staring at her with sort of glowing eyes, and this is you shouldn't. No, I'm just don't look, don't touch me.
No, don't worry. I certainly wouldn't. And so we're going to cut Dude, Lionel. I'm going to do you two, and then we're going to talk about where Theo's at. You two come into this scene. You see the two girls are kind of getting up. They look shaken and a little nervous, and the dread is clearly also affecting them. You'll see, I assume, Rosa, you're starting to become less two-dimensional.
Yeah, I think she's thickening out a little bit, but I might need some help from someone to actually shed my skin and come back to full normal form. Just because
this young man this young man looks up at you, Dude, and you, Lionel, and he'll say, "I am so sorry."
I think I reflexively look at the two girls when I see that, because I'm used to people that are super manipulative, and he seems to be very prepared for this oddness.
They are kind of moving away. They're shaken, and they're actually, like, you can see that their faces have gone red, like they're embarrassed. And they're kind of standing up, and they're doing that thing where they kind of pull their arms close to them, like this is not what they wanted to have happen.
Okay. And I will sort of walk forward to Rosa and pick her up by the elbow. I'm not sure what she needs at this point, but I'll get her standing up.
Okay.
And I'll say, I'm sure there was just a misunderstanding. And nod to them and sort of turn Rosa around. This is a very strange thing, but I try to make it seem very natural.
Okay.
And look at Lionel, give him sort of an eye of okay, and kind of start moving back towards the other hallway.
Okay.
Whatever's happened here is like, there's too much going on. So she's like, she wants to sort of exit from it so we can sort it out separately.
Lionel?
I have a very bewildered look on my face, but I'm just following along with Dude at this point. Like, I have no idea what's going on, but okay, I kind of trust her. I'll just go with her.
Theo? I assume that when you can get yourself back, you'll rush back up the stairs.
Yeah, I will do so.
Okay. And you'll rush up the stairs, and you will see Lionel's there now. Dude has Rosa, and you'll see this handsome Japanese young man who's kind of following up behind. You maybe catch a look at the two girls. And they're kind of falling back like they're glad to get out of this situation. And this young man looks at you.
And I look at him sternly. Does he appear to have anything to say to me? Or
no, he's clearly seeing who all is here.
I think I walk up a little to him and I say, was this your whole idea then? This prank? You treat Rosa like this?
No.
Well then, mate, I ask, what were you waiting for? Are these two your henchwomen?
Well, see, biological property, since I didn't arrange this, they wouldn't be my henchwomen. They are my classmates, and they were up to, let us say, unpleasant tricks. I'm sure, though, you would have been able to stop them before I happened to cross their paths. You must be Gabriella's brother.
Ah, you've met my sister.
Yes, I have. She is my classmate.
Well, if your class operated like a team like ours does, you would have been able to rein these two in and stop them from getting up to such nasty tricks.
He smirks when you say that and looks around at the group. Point taken. I will certainly... I wish that we had the kind of careful organization and planning that you do.
I just I give him a grumpy look. I don't have a good comeback.
I should go, and he'll turn and look at you, Dude, and Rosa and Lionel. I say, my name is Ichiro. I do apologize.
Rosa, and she'll sort of hold out a papery hand for him to take.
He takes it briefly because he can see you're uncomfortable and kind of shake it and looks at you, Lionel.
I'm Lionel. Nice to meet you. Are you ahead of us? And I'm just yammering on and on.
I'm with another one of the classes that's been here for some time.
Oh, okay. Well, I've been passed out in the infirmary. I'm not even sure what happened. I guess I had too much sugar, but then not enough sugar, and now yeah.
That'll happen. And he turns, and you are?
And I say, Una Sobchak.
All right. Well, I'll be going then. And he will back away very cautiously. and backs into the room that he came out of.
And I think like wallpaper Rosa just has like inexplicably blushing red cheeks as you hobble her off to find a bathroom or something.
Essentially, yeah. She just doesn't know what you need, so she's trying to get out of earshot of everyone else so she can ask. So that is this.
Does it seem fair to cut back to the your common room and bedrooms? Does that seem fair?
Yeah, I think there's just like a 3-second shot in between of Una and Rosa in the bathroom, and like Una is peeling off her skin, and both of them look super grossed out, and then we just cut away from it.
So after a bit, we come back to Lionel and Theo. Let's do that moment, and then let's do a Rosa Una moment. Does that seem okay?
Sure, yeah. As soon as I like kind of realized that like Lionel's, we're in the common room now?
Yeah. Oh, a common room with a boy's bedroom?
Yeah, sure. I say, Lionel, my friend, le petit sorcier. Was it you that saved Rosa when I fell?
I mean, yeah, I opened, I just kind of opened that door and right into those girls' paths, and they ran into it.
Is there no end to your tricks? Where did you learn this talent?
I don't know. I've just kind of always been able to do it, but I mean, I've never. I'm not really good at controlling it. Like, it just kind of does its own thing most of the time, and every once in a while it'll do what I ask.
Well, maybe that's why they brought you here, to help you learn to have control over it.
Well, it'd be great if they could teach me this, but I mean, what happened? I passed out from low sugar in my blood. I don't even know how sugar gets in your blood, but
low sugar. We ate half of that vending machine.
I know. That's what I said. But anyway, like, what's been happening? What? How long was I out?
A good portion of the day. I mean, we got the 2 new students. We came here. A teacher came to lecture us about going into the red, the yellow, the gray, and all the black rooms. So basically, most of the school was supposed to not go into. And then, of course, we immediately went into one of the red rooms, which was a giant library, and they were turning gears and boats and compasses and navigation stuff. And there was this planetarium, or whatever they call it, and it started to rotate, and a door appeared. And then Rosa, I don't know what happened with her, but somehow she ended up flat and in the hands of another class. So that's what you missed.
What? Okay. And I'm just like completely bewildered. I'm basically speechless for the first time ever.
That seems like a good place to cut to Rosa and Una together.
Okay, and I think Una she's helping you get this other skin off, and she's like, what do you usually do with these? I mean, are you supposed to burn them?
Oh, well, I that sounds like it would smell terrible. No, I usually just stuff them in the trash or a hamper or under a bush, or someone takes care of them.
and Una's eyes kind of go wide. She's like, oh, okay, I'm not going to take care of them, okay?
Well, fair enough. I assume the school pays people for this sort of thing.
I don't know. And she kind of goes, I don't. And she sort of stops and goes, they're watching us really closely.
So, that Ichiro boy, he was nice. Have you seen him before?
I don't trust him. And she goes, he was too in charge right away. She goes, that's someone who's got all of that planned out. It's like, and she kind of goes, I don't trust him.
Huh. And I think you sort of see Rosa go from, like, sort of wide-eyed, dreamy teen girl looking in the mirror and playing with her hair and being, like, talking about Ichiro, to she sort of pays attention to you more than maybe she's paid attention to you before and sort of looks you up and down. That's, huh. Una? Why
Rosa?
does everyone get scared when they hear your last name? Rosa says, being very aware that no one has been impressed by her last name in like 2 whole days, and that's terrible.
Okay. And I think Una kind of goes, I seriously do not know.
It might be something that's worth finding out. A name can be very important in the right circles.
I have been researching it since I could read, and I've never found anything definitive.
Well, what did your parents say?
And she kind of goes, I don't know anything about my parents.
Oh, I feel like that all the time. My dad is just a closed book to me. He's impossible to read.
And he goes, all I have of my parents, if they are indeed subject, is a piece of masking tape that was left on my violin. It said subject on it. That's all I have. So very tenuous evidence.
Oh, you poor thing. Oh, I didn't realize how silly of me. I am so sorry. And she sort of moves into, I think maybe from Una's backstory, you recognize this like charitable, oh, I can take care of you, lost bird sort of mode.
Exactly. Which of course Una like completely recognizes, and she kind of goes, that doesn't look good on you, Rosa.
Huh, she'll drop it. Fair enough.
So let's cut to the 4 of you back together in the common room. Let's start with Lionel. You've had the sort of the least amount of words or screen time. There's this new young woman. And also, let's talk for just a second about how to handle, since we have a character who was here last time who is not present. If this were a TV show, this would be the week that actor was out, and there'd be no mention of why they're not on screen or anything. So that's how we handle that. So Lionel, what's your reaction to all of this?
I mean, I'm a little overwhelmed. Just found out about all these new rooms that are color coded, but like the red ones sound really cool, like a library planetarium type thing, and I kind of want to go and investigate them. Yeah, I mean, I'm still trying to play catch up here, but I'm kind of raring to go out and look around.
So what do we see with the rest of you in the room? That kind of, probably there's that awkward bit that you've all 4 are back together.
I think that Una comes in and says, Lionel, was Sebastian with you?
I haven't seen him.
Okay, you both were gone when we got up this morning. And she goes, so what did you do? They said something about testing. Did you have to take more tests?
They said they had some kind of special testing. I don't know what that is. I don't remember anything about it. All I remember is waking up and Mrs. Wednesday, right? Yeah, Mrs. Wednesday was in there and said something about there not being enough sugar in my blood. I still don't understand that because I ate so much sugar yesterday.
Una giggles, but she's kind of like, usually that reaction doesn't. What? But you didn't see or hear any mention of Sebastian?
Nothing.
Maybe they're giving you your own individual education programs, like gifted students or something? You're obviously very talented.
You're too sweet, but I mean, they didn't. I just woke up and then they sent me on my way, and I walked out into whatever that chase sequence was. And then, well, as I was waking up, I did hear them mention something about he's not being one of the two, but I'm not sure who they were talking. And I like very confusedly try and relate what the conversation I overheard was.
So I think when Rosa comes in, like her hair is now like jet black, and she's got very heavy on the eyeliner sort of look going on, but fresh, new, fashionable clothes. And she sort of sees Theo in there, and she rushes over to him. Oh, Theo, you're all right. I saw you fall. Did one of them set a trap for you too? They must have been terrible. Oh, you must have fought them off. You were very brave. She sees sort of like a bump on your forehead, and she like brushes your hair out of the way. And she's like, Are you hurt? Are you all right? And as she says that, her fingers just sort of linger in the back of your head as she like casually leans on you, like, oh, you poor thing.
Oh, it's not me. You need to worry about. It's just a scratch. But you look different. Fantastic.
You noticed. That's sweet of you.
And Theo is actually referring to the fact that you look different and that you're not a piece of paper anymore. But Rosa's probably just like, oh no, and he just has this confused look on his face still that you're not explaining like what happened, and he's like, it's a nice color, yes.
So, I'm sorry. Do we have like a mascot for the class? Hello, I'm Rosa. How are you? She says in a very like talking to a little kid voice to Lionel.
Well, Lionel does look exactly like a small child. So, hi, I'm Lionel. It's nice to meet you in flesh. I'm not really sure. You were that little paper thing, right? What happened there?
It was an unfortunate accident, and not something we need to bring up very often.
Okay. Well, it's nice to meet you, and I hear you're the new student here.
Yes, I am the new student here.
Well, there is another one, but she's not in the room, is she?
I hadn't even noticed.
There'll be that knock on the door.
All right. Then I'll get it because I just do these things.
And you'll see Chef December is there, the cook.
Oh, hello, Chef December.
Do you just call me December? There's no need for a title.
But you do cook very, very, very well. Does she have her tables and everything with her?
No, she doesn't.
Okay.
She says, why don't you come on, follow me down to your dining room that is off from the kitchen. And okay. I'll show you the kitchen that you have to work with. I fixed dinner already, but I just want to show you where that's at and get you oriented.
Oh, that's a good idea. We haven't. And she sort of turns to Lionel and she goes, it turns out that we're going to be making our own meals. So we have to go and learn how to cook. Okay? And she's sort of very, all right, let's do this.
And she'll look up and sees Rosa and she goes, you must be the new young woman?
Yes. Rosa Greaves. It's nice to meet you.
All right, great. Doesn't acknowledge the name. And she'll say, why don't you all come with me and I'll take you on down. And she'll go down the hallway, makes a couple of turns, goes down a set of servant stairs, a couple of levels, and she'll come out through a swinging door into this very nice kitchen with an island. It's got the hanging pots and pans. It's got a couple of stoves. It's got a couple of refrigerators, a sink. It's very well appointed. It actually looks like it's sort of towards the back of the house because there's a door that seems to go out from here and goes onto a back porch. And December will kind of tie up her long gray hair. And when she does that, you'll realize she looks younger than you would have expected because you've kind of seen her with the hair out. And she'll say, so this is the kitchen. Through the swinging door here is a small dining room that I've got dinner out there already. I did just a buffet for you. So I hope that's okay. Chinese, that's what we had around. But why don't you, let me show you that, and she'll walk you through into this small dining room. There's a dining room table, but it's super low, and there are cushions around it. And there's a side table with chafing dishes for different foods over there.
One question, madame.
Yes.
Do you have a coffee press, or I suppose a French press, like you call it here?
Oh, absolutely. We've got we have a French press and then a standard coffee maker if you prefer cafe Americano.
No, not that.
Fair enough. Well, if you all want to dig in, I can pull that out and put that on the counter for you.
Please, I was hoping to.
Would you like a cup right now?
Oh yes. Why don't we have one for everyone? They need to experience what a good coffee press can do.
All right. Well, why don't you four set to and eat? Plates are silver over there. I'll get that set, and I'll pull the dessert out of the fridge.
I'll say as Theo goes through the demanding the coffee press thing, and I think showing us how to use it throughout the dinner. Rosa is super into that sort of pretentious bullshit. She is so into Theo while he's being European and fancier than thou sort of thing.
Lionel, how much Chinese have you eaten?
None. But I am immediately going for whatever looks like the sweetest thing on the table because I've had low blood sugar, so I need more sugar.
Okay.
And I'm going for the sweet and sour pork and all that stuff.
Okay. General Tso's chicken with the sweet sauce on it. There's probably a lemon chicken, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and once I discover plum sauce, I'm going to mainly be eating that.
And it's really good. There's way too much here. And December kind of checks in a couple of times during the meal to make sure everything's good. And she waits till you're all finished. This, nice coffee press. Do that slow thing. Got the fine grounds in there.
And I don't know what they are, but Rosa has a tiny, insignificant request or thing that she wants addition every time December comes in the room. She's like, oh, this little thing. Oh, if we could just have one of these. Oh, if we could, that sort of thing.
About the fourth time you do that, she says, hey, Rosa? So, I'm the person who will be helping you get all of the kitchen and cook stuff together, and looking out for your food and what you eat and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you do not want to fucking piss me off. There we go. All right. So, looks like you're all set. Why doesn't everybody grab some of these buffets? We'll take them back in the kitchen. I'll show you where the Tupperware is so you can pack things away for leftovers for the next day or two. Does that sound good?
It does.
Rosa, she's talking about some kind of meal leftovers.
I'm not even. She lost me at Tupperware. But, I've been recently bitched at, and now she's using all this strange terminology, so I'll just lean on Theo more.
And she'll take you in the kitchen. She shows you where all the storage things are. She'll show you where they are. There's a fridge that's set aside for you to put prepared things into, and all of this leftover. And there's like a couple of days worth of food here for you.
I have a question, and I will ask it of her. I say, so is this our refrigerator, or do we share it with the other classes?
No, this is your kitchen. That's your dining room.
Oh, good. That's quite reassuring.
They are not allowed to come into. You're not allowed to go into the other kids' kitchens. They're not allowed to come into here. If you ever find your food is missing, tell me. That's my territory. All right, that's what I deal with. So I don't want anybody taking each other's food. And she'll pull out from the fridge a sort of a beautiful pie, fruit pie, and she'll pull some stools up to the island, and she'll slice you all a piece of fresh sort of raspberry pie that she'll serve to you. And she'll say it's not exactly goes with the Chinese, but it's what I had today. So they were fresh raspberries.
It goes with the coffee. That's for sure.
I think Rosa daintily eats half of her pie piece, and then she's intending to pass it off to Theo, hey, do you want to finish this for me? And somehow it just ends up going straight down Lionel's throat in between.
Definitely.
So good. She'll say, so when you get up in the mornings, breakfast will be prepared down here. That's what we'll do every morning for you, so that you don't have to worry about that meal. Dinner is yours to prepare. I will have some simple lunch things ready, very basic. So if you want to supplement that, you'll need to do that yourselves.
Are there recipe books? And she's sort of looking around, and
she'll say, yeah, actually, well, we've got a pretty substantial collection of basic ones. And then there's also a tablet that has a number of cookbooks on it. And she'll kind of point you over to that.
Mostly I just know how to make eggs, so this should be interesting.
Well, if any of you want lessons at any point, just leave me a note, and we can make arrangements for that. Everyone getting on okay?
I think we all here are getting on wonderfully.
All right. She looks at you, Doot.
She goes, do you know where Sebastian is? He's been gone all day.
I don't. I'm not part of the instructional staff.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. The dishwasher is over here. You can load that. Here's where the rinse agent and the tablets are. It's a pretty good dishwasher, but I still recommend that you give things a rinse before you put it in there. All right. The garbage disposal is a little temperamental, so be careful what you put down it. There's a compost bin on the back porch. You can put things there, and I'll have that taken out to the gardener. All right. And you see her hesitate, like she kind of doesn't want to move on, but she'll say, all right, well, you know how to get back upstairs to your rooms? Can follow that path back?
The green, right?
Yeah, the green.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I'm going to go then. And she'll go out into the dining room through the swinging doors there and heads out.
All right. And when we've all had the pie, we'll pack that up, put that away, and she'll go, so does anyone have a particular specialty that they want to have, or will we be sharing everything around?
I think it's best that we all of us pull our own weight and learn anything that we might not already know. And he's trying to say this delicately because he knows Rosa doesn't want to do any of it, but he doesn't want to get stuck doing all her slave labor.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm happy to eat whatever you manage to work up, Una. I trust you. I think you're good.
So you'll be doing cleanup then instead of cooking.
Oh, I'm great at drying.
At
Grabs
drying.
sort of a rag and waves it around.
Okay. So then are you good at washing? Perhaps you have to practice up.
I'm sure we'll work out something.
We'll do it together.
That sounds lovely, Theo.
And that's the path to doom.
Yeah.
I kind of look at Lionel and I go, you could be the dessert specialist if you wanted.
That sounds great to me. I don't know how to make pies like that, but my mom used to make pies like that, and I bet I could figure something out. I mean, maybe I could just melt down some Hershey bars and on and on and on.
I go, yeah, we'll go and read some recipes, okay? Try some stuff.
So Theo, she said Sebastian was that the bed with all the cleats around it?
Yes. Lionel, I don't know if they roused you at nighttime, but I woke up this morning and both of your beds were made perfectly, much neater than I'm sure either of you would have made them.
I mean, well, my mom always made me keep a very tightly made bed, but
Sure.
I like I said, I don't really remember anything. I remember us, in the rooms, and I remember getting to pick my bed and exploring the bedroom, and then that's everything else has gone kind of hazy.
Well, go ahead.
And she sort of stops and goes, so you don't remember being woken up?
No.
And she kind of looks at the other ones and goes, well, then we can assume that they drugged him before he woke up. And she goes, at this point, I think it's pretty clear that the staff isn't entirely on the up and up with us.
Oh,
I agree.
okay.
And
So let's check out what resources we have. And essentially she starts opening the drawers in the kitchen and looking through the cabinets and sort of going, okay, and going through this and going, if we have to run away, and here, look out the back porch. I mean, she's kind of like weirdly no nonsense about it.
I think Theo quickly follows suit because he's used to following his sister around when she does stuff like this, and in these situations, he does have the knowledge, so he'll follow you, but he needs a leader to do that.
There's a good suite of knives. There are some things to pack lunches in, so you can pack up stuff.
Una, what am I supposed to do with this knife? It's dirty.
This is where you learn washing. So,
but do I need to wash it to protect myself with? I'm very bad. I don't understand.
Well, and she kind of goes, I don't think it's a good idea to try to use the pie knife for stabbing someone. Just wash that one, put it away, and remember that there are knives here in case someone needs stabbing.
Oh, all right. Are we planning on stabbing many people?
No, but if we have to leave, if it looks like our lives are in danger, then we are going to have to pack and get ready.
And if that Ichiro guy pulls any funny business, then who knows what we'll have to do.
And you get sort of a hair twirling, staring off into the corner moment of, oh, Ichiro.
Damn.
Sherry, I actually want to engage a move here for a second.
Okay.
Because you were looking around for stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you had Theo assisting you. So this is an opportunity to do a seek move.
All right. That sounds awesome.
set a stat to it.
Okay. So with mine, there is no stat that goes with seek as I understand it, but I get a +1 because I'm born to strangeness. And I think in some ways this is I know what refugees have to do when things go wrong. So she's very like, okay. So I'm going to roll now.
Yes.
So that's a 5. That gives me a 6 total. So I don't do
Okay.
particularly well.
It does look to you like the kitchenware is very basic, and particularly chosen to how do I put this? Not be particularly good for, say, hand-to-hand fighting.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, the way that, and let me pause here for a second because Matt asked an interesting question about the mechanical help. Again, when you do a seek move, because he was helping you, you were able to use a stat rather than just flat.
Oh, well then I would add another one to that, and that would actually get me to 7.
Okay.
Okay.
So you can declare something that you find here, or you can ask me to declare something that you find here.
I'm going to say that, let's see here. One of the things that we do find are, God, that's an interesting thing. Let me think here, of all the things in the kitchen that I would want to take with me, not the blender.
Okay.
So probably one of the things that we find is that, like she said that there was the Tupperware and stuff, but there's actually like some really super smart Tupperware for if you were going to pack and carry things like cold packs and all of that stuff, is if they have this stuff for, taking a long picnic or a trip out. So that would or could be helpful.
But when you kind of pull that stuff out, you will see that it's kind of tucked to the back, and you can see that there are labels on it. And you see some names.
What names do we see?
It's like Isaac, Childress, Samantha, Kate. It's like a set of like 7 names on them.
I'll show them to the others. This must have been the class of the green room before.
Oh, what? We're supposed to put our food in used packs?
All right, I actually want to cut from there. I think that's a great end line for the scene. And what I think I want to do is take our 5-minute break. I'll come back and check in with you, and then I'd like to move to the next day classroom scene, if that's okay. Okay, so we're gonna take 5. I also realized, Patrick, that I said something mechanically, but I think actually I was like, oh, you would do the directly engage a threat. It would actually be the provoke someone when you're doing the social thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it allows when you provoke someone susceptible to your words, and then you get to do some effects on that.
I'll keep that one in mind.
Yeah.
I still liked getting to ask questions about them.
Oh, yeah. No, I like that. I like discovery moves very much. And I guess I should I'll put the girls' names under them.
I love your weirdo staff for this game.
Isn't it great? It's just... I love groups of NPCs like that.
So I had a quick question for you, Lowell.
Absolutely.
I'm playing in your Changeling PBTA game next month.
You're playing in Tyler Lomiak's.
Oh.
He's doing with my rules.
Okay, that's what it is. Okay.
Yeah.
I've never played Changeling. Do you recommend, like, I have most of the books, anything like I should look through beforehand?
I would just skim it.
Okay.
Skim what the different seemings and kiths are to get a sense of it, and maybe look at the, I think the first part before you get to character creation talks about some of the different elements, just to get the flavor of that. Essentially, anything kind of up to character creation and things is probably going to give you a good sense of how things work.
Okay, great.
Patrick,
yeah.
What do you think?
I think that's fair. You know, this is one of those times when really digging into the like scattered little fiction bits in a World of Darkness book can really be useful, because we're not really worried about any of the rules or important text to dig out. So you can just like hit beginning of chapter to beginning of chapter and get a really good feel for the world.
Okay, great. Yeah, I was I backed the Changeling C20 thing, so like I have a whole ton of PDFs, and we'll dig through that.
Those first edition PDFs and things it's one of my favorite complete sets.
Yeah.
And actually, if it's C20 that you got, though, that's Edition Wars, Old World of Darkness, different Changeling sort of thing.
Oh okay. Yeah, that's right. That's Changeling the
dreaming.
You're talking about Changeling the Dreaming.
Yeah, I think they had a package in there for lost PDFs as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I have both.
Okay. Yeah. That's one of those things where I get people going, oh, I love Changeling, and then I'm like, oh yeah, and I love this. I'm like, no, that's the other one.
Right.
It's strange because when Old World of Darkness was around, I didn't care for Changeling the Dreaming. But there's something about, I know, Patrick, I'm sorry. I'm a terrible person. But Changeling the Lost, just for some reason, it grabs me like nothing else. Sherry, are you back?
Yes, I am.
Okay, just wanted to make sure there. So we would montage the next, the night, this kind of the disturbing, sleep, the nervousness about going to sleep, the fact that Theo's drunk a lot of coffee late in the day, but also the fact that Lionel has eaten a lot of sugar, as much as humanly possible, during the meal. But the next day, you get up. When you go down to the kitchen/dining room, December has clearly prepared a massive buffet with a lot of things that could easily be stored, like a bacon and French toast and those kinds of things that will keep. She clearly kind of overdone it on that. Then as you're eating, this woman comes in, kind of wanders, stumbles into the dining room. And she's got this headscarf and this sweater on, and she's smoking, and glasses kind of down on her face, and she's like, "Hey,
hello. May I inquire what your name is?"
yes."
And before she can even answer, like, Rosa steps up. "Excuse me, hippie. This is our private dining room, and there's definitely no smoking in this school, and none of whatever else is going on here. You need to turn around and find somewhere else to take that."
Well,
Rosa, hippie, I'm sorry. Please introduce yourself.
you're adorable. You're going to be so much fun. So I'm Dr. Friday. I'm your instructor today. Ooh, eggs. Hang on. Let me finish in a second. Hang on. And she'll grab herself a plate and set herself some of that. Anyway, I know it looks like a cigarette, but it's vape. Let's pretend it's vape. Listen to that. And she kind of shakes it, and the smoke stops, and she does this thing, and it's gone. And why don't you guys finish up, pack your things away? Is there coffee?
Oh, yes.
As she's darting around, it's like she has this invisible 10-foot bubble that Rosa can't enter, and she keeps backing away from her.
Awesome. I just have a little bit of this coffee here.
Oh,
and well, we're gonna go over to I think we're in the nursing annex now. And get that straightened up and all of that jazz. Sound good?
And she says, "That's what we were told would be happening today."
Yep, that's what's happening.
Okay.
That's the thing.
So are you our first instructor?
Yeah, I think so. You haven't had any other instructors yet, right?
Wouldn't you know that?
You guys just got here, right? I mean, that's what I think. So, yeah. So I guess I'm your first instructor. I think I'm just here today, and then next week, we'll get the rotation set up. But somebody might try to foist you off on me for more than one day. So we'll see what happens.
Do you have Sebastian on your class list for us?
Reaches into her pocket, pulls out a piece of paper. Yes.
He doesn't appear to be, he hasn't been here since, well, it's been 2 days since we've seen him.
Okay. Let me go. You guys finish up, get your stuff packed up. Let me go talk to January, and if she'll see me, and we'll get that. I'll find out what's going on with that. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. And she heads out. As she goes out the door, you see that cigarette's back in her hand, and she's smoking again.
And I'll close the door behind her, and I'll go, "Okay, so the one advantage that we have is that they aren't particularly well coordinated. So remember to use that."
And they seem to not really be sure of their own duties sometimes. I think that if we want to be a team, a true team, I mean, Sebastian is not here, and he would be the best captain for this team. But it seems like they want us to learn to work together. To, if the other classes are going to be pulling stunts like that, and they're going to make ourselves our rivals, then we need to band together, stronger than them. We need to learn as much about each other as we can.
Well, don't you think it would be more helpful to learn as much about the other classes so we can take them down?
Sebastian told me what your team was.
Torn! Which one?
You just wait until you meet Sebastian, Rosa. He'll show you.
Dude
And
says
about
Sebastian is pretty awesome.
I feel like we're putting a lot of faith in people that aren't here to help us.
He'll be
There
back.
is
I know
that.
he will.
She's back about 25 minutes later. The cigarette's gone when she comes in again. And she'll say, yeah, there's some extra testing going on for Sebastian, placement exams. So as soon as he gets done with that, they'll place him back with the class. It's sorry, with the mid-semester switch like this, no one was expecting it. So having you guys come in halfway, we're just trying to get things set up.
And just to double check, you're entirely sure that your name isn't like Janitor April or something?
Nope. Dr. Friday. April, you don't necessarily want to mess with.
Good. Let's get to learning then.
Okay. Yep. Nothing like learning. And it'll start with a brisk walk across the backyard to get to the nursing annex. So let's go. I'll just take some of this coffee with me. Okay. I'll just grab a cup here. We'll go out.
Cheers.
And she will take you out the back, out through the back porch, out into this enormous. It's like somebody had like multiple different sort of English manor estates in mind and dropped them all kind of together pell-mell, and they didn't take care of them. So you can see there's a hedge mage. You can see there's woods. You can see that there's like a dried up fountain, and there are other buildings around back here. There's a gazebo.
Is this where a tornado picked up the Bronte sisters' house and dropped it on Jane Austen's uglier sister?
She goes, ooh, nice. No, but nice. Oh, I like that one. That's good. That's good. Have to keep that in mind. That's a good one. Kind of looks off in the distance for a bit. Okay. Anyway, yeah, let's go back here to the annex. There've been some efforts made at maintaining the grounds here, but it's you guys will see it's very, very minor. Pathways cut. Things make it look like, to keep it from like being a fire hazard back here. Great rose bushes that have gone wild, that have tangled up and formed barriers in some places. And you can see that there are other smaller buildings here. You don't see any towers like you saw when you were coming in, or that is on the main building itself. But eventually she gets you to a 2-story small building that is not in great shape. The windows are intact, but it's very dusty. When you go in, you can see right away there's one wing that clearly has like beds for patients. And then there are some other rooms, and you can see that some of them have like chalkboards and desks and things arranged in them. And there's a great big pile of mops and brooms and gloves and all kinds of cleaning gear.
So I think the whole way up, like, nature keeps trying to touch Rosa, and she keeps like swerving and squeaking out of the way and ends up more and more just like grasped onto Theo's forearm and sort of leaning on him like, oh my god, protect me from the plants, they're gonna get me. Is that a bug? What is that?
It's a bird, Rosa. It's a bird. Relax. There's no bugs that big around here.
Why is it buzzing at me then?
Sometimes birds buzz. I don't know. If Suman was here, she could tell us all about it.
Friday will say, so we don't have to clean the whole place. Let's stick to one room, get that all set up and cleared up. I mean, I don't want you guys to spend all day doing this, so.
Excuse me, Janitor Friday. I thought we were here for
Dr. Friday.
I keep getting that mixed up given how poor you look.
Go on.
I thought we were here to learn something, not dust your guest house of horror.
Yeah, you're going to do both.
I don't know. I feel like mop things would really distract me from the learning process. I like to take in information pure in a clean setting.
Well, if you want a clean setting, then get your ass in gear. And she's going to put she kind of comes in and is putting that pressure on you. She's essentially she's an adult and she's telling you what to do. Now you can, if you'd like, try to reject her influence.
I would like to try and reject her influence. She doesn't even have the wherewithal to dress expensive like most of the teachers here.
Okay. When you roll, reject someone influence, roll. And it's a flat roll. There's no stat for this.
Ooh. That's a 7.
Okay. If you look on the basic moves, you get to choose one.
I think sorry, go ahead.
No. She clearly kind of thinks you're not. Clearly thinks that you're just, a spoiled rich kid, and she's going to give you a hard time here. That's sort of the influence that she's putting on you, the image that she's projecting.
Oh, well, that's not entirely wrong. I'm sorry, I'm just hung up on like how to acting to prove them wrong.
So got maybe a couple of options. One is to actually do the work and counter that image of the rich girl, or the other one is to do that sort of nod, and she thinks you're going to do the work, but you're going to try and shirk it today.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I'll immediately act to prove them wrong in the very theatrical sense of acting. So yeah, I'll sort of work through my angry condition by managing to give her just the right face throughout the cleaning day and look busy whenever she's coming by, but spend most of it just sort of like leaning on mops and chatting with Theo about France and actual interesting things.
Lionel, what's your response to this task that has been put before you?
Well, my mom always had us clean during homeschooling sessions, so yeah, I mean, I know exactly what to do with this, and I jump and I grab a mop, and even while this whole thing with Rose is going on, Lionel's already cleaning. He's already wiping things down, mopping the floor, and doing it to a pretty, it looks pretty good.
Okay. Yeah, getting all the stuff set here. Theo, what about you?
I think Theo, for the younger part of his life living on the street, never really had to do much cleaning. But I think once Louise took him and his sister in, she kind of put them to work a little more, or expected a lot more of them. So he is also a bit used to cleaning. So he's kind of he's kind of supplementing for Rosa's maybe sloppy job at whatever she's doing, and like he'll try and like he'll notice that she like missed a spot like real bad, and just without really like just trying to cover up for her basically. But I think at one point he might also like while he's like moving by Lionel, maybe Lionel's like hard, mopping the floor, and he just like walks past him and he says, "Lionel, do you know any cleaning spells?"
I mean, there was this one thing that I used to practice when my mom wasn't looking, because she didn't like me when I, using my abilities, and I scrunch my face up really hard, and at a distance, one of the dusting rags starts dusting one of the bookshelves, and then once that starts going, like I kind of keep one eye on it while I'm mopping, so I'm cleaning 2 areas at once.
MVP, nice.
And Matt, I would be open to, if you wanted to, because you have influence over Rosa, like I'd be open to completely rejecting it from Friday, but having Theo talk her into like having fun with him cleaning, if you're interested in that.
Yeah.
Or I can continue to use you. It's all the same to me, really.
I think that would be fun. I think you can mark potential, but I think I think Theo is still sore at Ichiro, and you're obvious. I don't know. I don't think you were too subtle about it. So I think like maybe you might indulge him a little bit while he's kind of like griping about those. Like he would probably bring up the incident from yesterday and just kind of like, make sure everything was okay. And he'd be complaining about the other classes and how we have to, band together if they're going to keep pulling stuff like that. And if you indulge him a little bit, then you can mark XP for that.
Oh yeah. She's definitely into seeing you show some overt jealousy over her.
Lionel, you're doing the extra rag thing. What do you do when Friday kind of comes back walking through the room?
I think I'm concentrating so hard, like splitting my attention like this, that I don't really notice her at first. And then, maybe she catches a glimpse of it or something. I'll leave that up to you. But then, as soon as I do notice her, that's when I stop.
Okay. Yeah, she's standing there. She's kind of got her cigarette there, and she's kind of watching, and she's been kind of, sarcastically upbeat through here, but she kind of frowns when you kind of catch her eye when then you stop, and she doesn't say anything, but she moves away, moves on.
And I'm very much cowed by authority figures, so like head down, focus on the work, do as told.
Una, tell me something cool that you guys find here.
I think that one of the things we find is sort of, it looks like at one time there was a cabinet that was sort of a hidden place in the bookshelf. Like when we're moving the books, we find, I sort of bump into a little lever and it springs open, and it's full of like all these old pharmaceutical bottles with things like laudanum and but like really old.
the brown bottles with the labels that have gone that kind of sepia yellow.
Exactly.
Typewritten.
Yes, and like different pair things. There's probably like a bottle and it says cocaine on it, because back in the day that was a perfectly fine thing to add for a little energetic jolt, and it used to be in Coca-Cola, and then so. And just like a, just sort of that sort of strange range of things that the pharmaceuticals from, like, I don't know, the 1900s.
And so, yeah, you've got access to a whole chemistry lab of things here.
All right.
When you all are kind of done and have got the classroom set up, Friday will come in and she'll sit on the desk and she'll say, "Okay, let's talk a little bit today. Why don't everybody sit down, grab whatever chairs, seats that you want." So, how much do you guys know about experimental bias?
Look,
Resounding silence.
So, I want to talk about that a little bit today. See, sometimes people set up experiments or projects or things like that, but they've done it badly. I'm going to talk about that. This means that if you want to set up something and see what happens, obviously you want it to be in a controlled environment. You want to actually see what's going to happen. But there are all kinds of ways that you can get bias. And I'm not just talking about like scientific experiments. I'm talking about like focus groups or assessment groups, things like that. You guys know Barbies? Right? You're familiar? Okay. It's a very long time during the early days when they were manufacturing, or the toy company was looking at doing those. And when they brought the Barbie project up to have this essentially play doll for girls, as opposed to say, the baby dolls and things like that, it was soundly rejected at first. Because it was a group of men who were doing the assessments, and they couldn't see that women would want that kind of thing. Their vision of how things went affected it, and of course, turned out to be a huge success. That's one kind of bias, where you've got a particular group or dominant paradigm that you haven't thought about, that they are designing the experiment, but they don't see the whole picture. There's also something called normative influence. Does anybody know what that means? All right. So normative influence means that when you provide questions, the thing you want, the answers you want, the way you phrase those questions shapes the kind of answers and information that you can get. So a questionnaire about what kinds of things did you like about this movie forces people to get those kinds of answers. Forces people to look at that positive. You don't get the negative. Of course, surveys and things use this in political things to get people's reactions in a particular range. It's another bias, and she looks at you, Rosa. Another kind of bias when you have, say, a focus group or a study of things like that, where you've got a number of people together that you're trying to assess, trying to get a sense of. Problem with that is sometimes you can get dominant people. People who skew the results. People who drive the conversation. People who drive what's going on. Then you're not getting a real assessment of the whole group, but of just one or two people.
But don't you get dominant people in every social interaction? That's how social interactions work, after all.
Exactly. It means that if you're doing that kind of focus group or focus research, you have to take that kind of bias into account. You have to look at it. You have to be careful. Sometimes people set up experiments and they want something to happen, and they try to make it happen. But they haven't thought through the whole process. That's what I want you to keep in mind Okay.
Are we? Is this psychology you're teaching us now?
Sure. Let's do psychology. And she steps around and she opens a drawer and she goes, yeah. Let's do psychology. And she'll pull out some textbooks. Goes, yeah, these look good. And she hands out a psychology textbook to each of you. Yeah, that's what I'll be teaching, psychology.
Are they the same textbooks?
Yeah, though they're in various different conditions. Like one of them's like brand spanking new. Another's like slightly dog-haired. She makes sure she hands you the one that looks like it's been through, multiple uses.
As little touching as possible.
Did you just decide that?
What do you mean?
I mean, it sounded like you took that as a suggestion of what to teach us, and not like you had a planned curriculum.
And she comes over to you and she goes, what if the whole thing was just a setup? What if I very carefully worked through this whole conversation like a magic trick? Put that in your mind, pushing until somebody said psychology, and then I could go over there, reach in the drawer, pull out the books, and voila.
Then I suppose you're the one who should be teaching us psychology.
Bingo.
Or maybe you just have a drawer marked cold reading stage magic and, pop psychology counseling for dummies. It's like 5 different drawers over there.
Theo, would you like to go check the other drawers?
Okay. And I look kind of guilty because I'm going to prove Rosa wrong in a minute. But I walk up and I pull open the drawers one by one.
Okay. They are empty.
She's got you, Rosa.
She looks like she somehow blames you, Theo.
I open the drawer again and look harder for this time to make sure there's nothing.
She says, so what I'd like you guys to do between now and tomorrow is read through the first 3 chapters. Highlight anything that you think would make an interesting question for the group. And we're going to do a talk-through seminar tomorrow.
We can just write in these?
Yeah, they're yours. They're yours now.
I look down at my obviously used textbook, but I don't say anything.
Judging by this one, we can do a lot of things with them if we want.
All right. Well, she says, that's all I've got for today. You guys can head back to the house. It's probably mid-afternoon by now. Oh, wait. Any questions before I finish?
And I think Una stands up and she goes, so we'll have another instructor tomorrow, or do you expect it?
I'll be back tomorrow, and then we'll probably start cycling you some of the others. I'm the easiest one to work with, so.
Then we appreciate the gentle beginning. Thank you.
She looks at you. She notes the politeness. Dominant personalities.
And before she leaves, I raise my hand and.
Oh no! You don't need to raise your hand. Just talk.
Oh, okay. How clean do you want this place?
This is fine. I'm not particularly picky. Some of the other instructors might be picky. So I mean, for my money, if you're fine sitting here, then we're all good.
Well, I'm gonna just do a couple more things, like get up and get back to cleaning.
He goes, okay. You guys know how to make your way back to the house, right?
I hope.
Okay. Well, then I'll see you tomorrow. And she goes out the front door and she's gone. And she leaves you here.
Unless anyone has a thing, I think I would turn quickly to the group and I say, Did you hear what she said about removing bias and strong personalities? Maybe I'm connecting too many dots, but it sounded like she was talking about Sebastian. They removed him. He was the strongest of all of us. He was the obvious leader, and they took him away from us.
Oh, that's sweet, Theo, but she was obviously talking about me through all of that. She's just jealous.
And I said, I think that what you want us to think about is whether or not we're engaged as part of someone's experiment. I think that is what she was talking about. So clearly we have many questions for her tomorrow.
Ew, like lab rats or something? Like gross little mice things? Ugh.
And she goes, think about it, Rosa. We all have strange talents, right?
We saw you yesterday, Rosa. I know it's easy to pretend like it didn't happen, but we saw what you can do.
Well, so what? I mean, you say we all have strange talents. You all look pretty normal to me.
Did you miss the floating dish rag from earlier?
Floating dish rag?
Lionel?
And at that, I kind of let go of the mop that I've been using, and like Sorcerer's Apprentice style, it keeps cleaning on its own.
Wait, that's you?
Yeah. And I look down at your shoes, and one of the laces gets untied, and then the other one, and then they start tying themselves up together.
And Una?
And she sort of has, she carries the violin with her everywhere, and she sort of puts it up under her chin, and she raises her bow, and she plays a little bit. She just plays scales. You can hear it, and you're like, oh, scales. And then she just sort of disappears from your sight.
That's... Wow. So, Theo? Just sort of turn back to you and look at you under her hair.
And I give you a confident smirk from... Theo isn't usually in control like this, but I think he grins and he says, mine is a little more subtle. Rosa, give me your hand.
Oh, well, I suppose.
And I don't... Like, Theo... he can do psychometry, so he can kind of get, some memories or some thoughts or ideas from contact with a person, item, or a thing. And I don't want this to be like a creepy mind reading, like going into Rosa's memories or anything. But I wonder if I could just like pull off like a surface level thought, something that she wouldn't be revealing.
Have Rosa say, Rosa, if he's touching you and he's trying to get an impression or a strong memory or something like that, that's present in you, what would he get?
Yeah, okay. I think what he's getting is like that very carefree and dismissive attitude from Friday has me thinking about like my oldest sister. And so you just see like some screaming matches between her and someone that looks like an older, fancier, even more expensive version of Rosa. and then you just get like a flash of like Rosa staring in a mirror and her face is just like coming off and there's that sister's face underneath.
Huh. And I kind of like shake out of it for a second. I'm not as jarred as I usually am when I come out of these, but I kind of like, it was like deep breathing before that. And I just let out this deep exhale and I open my eyes slowly and I say, Rosa, I know what it's like to have a sibling overshadow you, to feel like they have too much control over your life.
I'm sure I don't know what it's like to be overshadowed by anyone, but yes, I do have a sister, and so yes. flustered.
Yeah.
I say, it's okay. I'm sure yours isn't quite as psychotic as mine, but I know that sibling rivalries can be messy, and you can tell me about it later.
And Doot sort of reappears at that moment, and she goes, so all of us are a little unusual, which is why no one really blinked when you turned into wallpaper.
I mean, I did like match the exact wallpaper. It was a little impressive.
It's very wallpapery. So anyway, I'm not entirely sure what she was trying to get across, but let's just take it that an experiment is an experiment. And either we're going to be conducting our own experiments, or at some point, or we're the subjects.
Hopefully we don't get poked and prodded too hard.
That's why I'm worrying about Sebastian.
Me too.
Well, you two keep moping about him all day. Why don't we do something about it?
Well,
I mean, I would definitely be down to do something about Sebastian, but we have to read all these chapters first. And I mean, I've already started skimming, and you see, like, I'm 10 pages in, and everything is highlighted. Literally every single word.
One manicured finger just comes over and like slowly closes the book. There will be time for that later, dear.
Oh, okay. As long as you say there'll be enough time.
Oh, we'll make sure to save plenty of time for all of our important studying for Janitor Friday's class.
I thought she said she was a doctor.
She said a lot of things.
So I saw where Lionel came out from. If they had Sebastian, if they took him to the same place, maybe he's through that corridor.
Theo, you could use your magic sight.
I'm just worried that they might know when I use it, and if I look into a red or a yellow or a black or a gray room, then we could get into worse trouble than we already have been.
Well, if this is all an experiment, how do you know that they won't mark you as failing if you don't use your powers?
Oh, nice.
I think Una has to laugh at that one.
You surprise me sometimes, Rosa. Okay, I'll try it.
Well, let's cut back to the house then. Sounds like you guys want to check that out. So
yeah,
let's cut back to there. Lionel, you haven't had a chance to roll much today. So I think I want to have you roll a seek roll.
Okay.
And you've got your comrades with you, helping you out. But this is about, you're looking for the room that you came out of. You're looking for things, trying to find stuff. So let's have you roll. You can roll with a stat because you've got your group with you helping you.
Okay. I mean, this kind of feels like maybe a danger, going into danger, that kind of thing.
Sure. I can work with that.
And that is a 10.
All right. So now a seek move allows you can declare what you find, or you can ask me to declare what you found, tell you something that doesn't have like a lot of hooks or problems or things like that.
Okay. I'm going along with that danger thing. So are these color coding? Is this color coding system is like red more dangerous than gray or anything like that?
So what that is they've told you that that there are some different wings that have, your wing has like a green color pattern to it. Some of the other student wings have different colors, and you're not supposed to go into those. But the red thing is that there are some red sashes or handkerchiefs on particular doors. You're not supposed to go through those doors.
And no students are.
Well, you don't know.
We don't know. Okay. I think we get back to the house and take one of Sebastian's possessions and give that to Theo for his reading. And feel free to,
Sure.
retcon any of this stuff, Theo. But I think the vision you get is a red room, the red sashed room, and he's inside of that, and it's very much a laboratory testing facility type thing. He's hooked up to machines, and there are really uncomfortable looking instruments spread across the room and on trays and stuff like that. But currently, no one's in there with him. So we may be able to get in there.
And maybe because it's a vision, and maybe I don't get all the information, or maybe this is what it actually looks like. But I imagine that he's in the center of a room, and it's kind of lit around him, and I can see the light gleaming off the machinery. But as the room expands out to the edges, it gets darker and darker until you can't see anything. So it looks like he's in this massive room that goes on forever, but it could just be part of the vision.
Effect of the vision itself. So you get that information, and you've got that vision. What do you want to do?
Well,
so do we get a sense of a path to it?
Let me think here how I would do that. I think to find your way there, someone is going to have to roll act under pressure. Oh, that's our house where the phone is ringing. I was like, geez. In any case, let's have either Una or Rosa roll this part of it, since we've had sort of Theo and Lionel wrapped up in the first part.
Well, I haven't failed yet today, so I think that I need to keep on going. So this is act under pressure?
Act under pressure.
So what stat does that use?
Savior.
Oh, goody.
It is wildly not my thing, so you're welcome.
Okay. I think I have one in Savior, so... All right, so I am rolling.
Yes, you have one in Savior.
So I end up with a 7.
All right. So you will make your way through the halls. I assume we're getting somebody kind of maybe when your mind was moving to the room, you saw some things on the way there, Theo, like some bits and like signposts. So you will find your way, and you're fairly close. You're very close, but you can see that the path you're going to need to take, there's definitely a room that you're going to have to pass through, and you can see that there are a couple of adults in it, and they're clearly sitting and talking and having coffee. What do you want to do?
And we don't recognize them?
Well, let me pull these two up for you. Let me grab the... Why is it? Ah, that's why. Pull that.
I wonder if this is a charged enough situation to read and get the scared bonus. But if someone else has something, then I'd like for you guys to jump in instead.
I definitely wanted to listen in.
There's a guy, very well dressed, in a kind of suit. He looks older, maybe Native American. It's hard to tell. And a woman who looks like she's in her 20s, long black hair, freckles, and they seem to be having some kind of conversation. You've never seen these two before at all. And so you guys are back a ways. So how would you like to do this?
Well, if we could maybe listen in, and maybe like this would kind of be us doing it, but Theo sort of makes the role because I have the I can ask an additional question on a miss if we miss, because he'd be extra cautious, kind of.
Sound good?
Unless anyone else has a more action-oriented maneuver.
I have an idea for engaging them, but I'd like to learn a little first, yeah.
Yeah. What is it?
Oh, I was gonna run in and throw a rich girl hissy fit crying jag in the middle of them.
That sounds a lot more entertaining and a lot better on screen than just listening around the corner. So,
well, you got to do that first, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah. Like I said, I'm curious to learn something about them. We don't know anything about them, and something useful may come up. So totally do yours first.
Cool. And there's no mechanical help unless it's a seek, right?
What someone can do is they can support you and roll mundane. And if you look there, on a hit, they hear you. They mark potential. So it would have you mark potential, clear a condition, or shift labels if they open up. So they could do that to shift your labels to give you a bonus.
And I'm not
that move.
That's a comfort or support. That's on basic, first column, third one down.
If Rosa is going to take that initiative, would it be more Lionel or Dude who would be kind of trying to be observant?
Sure.
I think Sherry, you had mentioned that you wanted to listen in as well. Do you want to support Theo in doing this?
Sorry, that cat.
Sure. I'm sorry. I thought that was Rosa was saying she was going to support you, but sure, I can support you. I have a +0 on that.
Oh, sorry, Pat. Were you going to do that, or were you going to?
Yeah. Oh, no. You go ahead and help with that.
All right. So do I need to roll then?
Yes, you do. Roll with mundane.
I rolled a 10.
Okay. So do you have a condition marked, Dude? Okay, so we'll assume that if you guys go into this pool, into this charge situation, you've got trust. That'll be added to that. I'm going to mark that down. Now, here's a question about how you want to handle this then, Matt. Do you want to mark potential because she's helping you out, clear condition, or shift your labels?
I think I would like to. So I marked the condition hopeless before because how I sort of messed up in saving Rosa, and I kind of lost faith in myself to do kind of cool heroic things. And I think maybe somehow Sherry, you can say however this might be, but I think this might sort of restore his confidence in his abilities to kind of be a sneaky operative.
Yeah, and I think the only thing that she does is when it comes up to that's what we need to do, she just turns to you and gives you a course that you do.
Nice.
Awesome. Okay, so is that spend 1 from the trust pool to take a +1, or
no? What that
is that how the help works?
So that's of course. So there are two things that are going to happen here. One is you can clear your condition.
Oh, okay.
Okay. 2 is you do generate a trust, so she can give that to you to get a +1 right away.
I'm probably okay. I have 2 superior, and
nice thing about it is you don't have to decide until after you roll.
Oh, score. All right. Well, that is a 10.
Okay. So you are going to get 3 questions, right? Because you get 1 base.
Yes.
Okay. Let me tell you the general shape of their conversation, and then you can ask, and I'll kind of illustrate. I'll give you what they're saying to kind of flesh that out. They do seem to be talking about new arrivals and time pressure, and a little bit of concern about how things are being handled right now. That seems to be the gist of the conversation. So, what is it that you want to know? And again, those are examples. So if you have something specific, you can ask that.
I think I would like to ask, sort of using this as inspiration. I guess one thing I'd like to know is, what dangers there might be in trying to get into this red room. And, because I'm used to sort of dealing with security systems and stuff like that. So is there anything obvious that we might run into?
So one of the things you'll hear them say is the woman says, Captain July is really wound up about this. And I think she's really bothered, especially because there's a sub check. So I know that she's going to be watching over. She expects them to try and find their friend. Does that sound like a reasonable answer?
Yep, and I think I give eyes to everybody else while we're listening when we hear that. I think I'd like to know a little more about like what is actually happening to Sebastian, so we would know if there's anything we have to like disengage or disable, or if there'd be any danger in just grabbing him and getting out of there.
The guy kind of leans back and he says, well, I think that they're just, they're done with the procedures. So I think right now they're just using him as bait. So we'll see what happens. I don't particularly want to get in the middle of this now. It seems to me people are, just because we lost that other group of students, they decide that they have to push things forward faster.
Well,
lost?
And your third question.
Well, I'm very curious to hear more about Sobchak, but I'd like to ask the three of you if anyone has a question they'd like to put forward.
Sobchak.
What'd you say, Pat?
Definitely Sobchak.
And I want to go, why were they, what was their concerns about Sebastian? Like, what is it? Why are they doing all the tests?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay. And the guy says, I don't even understand why they pulled him out in the first place. And August says, well, here's the thing. There's a certain personality profile that Year Turn gave us when we're bringing the keys in. And I mean, this group, there's a sub check, there's a breach, there's a seer, and there's another one who has high connections. It took a lot of manipulation to get her in here, so this is all hugely risky. And he says, and again, he's all the other groups. We have dominance, and we have that infighting set there. It keeps them scattered, so they can't join together. He's one of those figures who could unite them. That's what we don't want to have happen, is them join together. He says, well, if it comes to that, we can just change him. Because I'd rather not go to that. That would require getting another replacement in, and Your Turn's pushing on us hard enough as it is. Plus, she says, they went straight to the orrery yesterday. And he goes, what? She goes, yeah, they found the shipwreck room. I don't think they know what it means, but because holy cow. Did they get to the lighthouse? No, I don't think they did. I think July interrupted them first. There, how's that information?
Can we spend another hour here poking them with questions? No, that was awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
So I think that upon hearing that this is bait, we'll retreat. And I'll suggest...
do what now?
And she kind of stops and she goes, yeah, we have more effective ways of getting him back faster. And that's asking about him to everyone, making it very clear that we aren't going to let it drop. I couldn't imagine a voice more effective than yours, Rosa.
That's true. I am good at getting people to pay attention to me.
I'm kind of with Dude on this. Like, this is pretty dangerous. We can't just go traipsing in there, and I mean, the teachers find us and then we get expelled, and I mean, I don't think we can really handle this. And I'm trying to run away from a dangerous situation right now.
Okay. That's under your...
Oh, it's not an actual move. It's how to clear afraid.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that seems reasonable to me. That's a good move. Yeah. Okay. I always forget about the conditions having those things. So yeah, if you pull back and kind of lead with that group, you can go ahead and clear afraid.
Okay.
Yeah, and Dude will just say, instead of doing something risky like they're hoping that we will, we'll step back and we'll just take a different approach.
Fine. You want to question people rather than getting things done? We can question people. And she will just stand up and march straight into that room with those two teachers. She'll, well, actually, first she'll turn to Una and say, I'm going to need you to do something for me, and please don't ask a lot of questions. I know it may be sort of hard for you and against your nature, but I just need you to slap me as hard as you can.
And you see her pause, then she kind of smiles a little. She transfers her bow to her violin hand and sort of reaches back and goes, whap.
So she gets the strong hand ready is what she does.
I try and not like make a lot of noise out here in the hallway, but I use that to work up into a good like full-throated crying jag as I burst through the door in there, and I look around and say, your teacher's right. You can help me. It's been such an awful day. There was this horrible janitor woman who said she was our teacher and that she was making us do things, and then I got threatened by a cook, and now the other students, they say one of our classmates has been stolen and kidnapped out of her bed, and then that terrible animal girl, she was awful and smelly, but she's gone too, and I'm sort of happy about that, but I'm also afraid that I might get kidnapped out of my bed, and what is these people even here doing about that? Is anyone looking out for us? On and on.
This is good. So one of the interesting things here is, of course, adults are highly resistant to the kinds of persuasion and things that you can do. So one of the things you'll realize when you come in and you do that sort of you're looking for help, looking for compassion, manipulating them that way. There is that cold look on their face. Like they just don't care.
Oh, I'm used to that. And I come from a world where compassion is not easy to get. But annoying people into giving you enough to go away, that is something I'm good at.
All right. So I think that the first thing you're going to have to do is the woman stands up. She's much taller than you expected when she stands up. It's almost like she unfolds from the couch where she was sitting, like kind of mechanically unfolds and stands tall and steps over, and she essentially says, "You need to take care of whatever it is you're involved with on your own, you stupid little girl." So, I'm going to have you reject her influence because she is trying to pressure you out of here. I know you're manipulating, but adults, they have that pressure. And it is once she kind of gets in your face, you're like, oh shit, this is an adult.
And there's so much of her. So let's see. That is, really? Ended up with the same roll on the same dice. I'm going to try that again.
Okay.
Oh, wow. That's an 11.
All right. So you reject their influence. So you get to choose 2 off of that rejecting influence thing.
What are my stats like? I think I can lose a danger and gain a mundane.
Okay. And let's say that the other pick you get is to get leverage to provoke her.
Nice.
How does that sound? Does that sound good? Like that gives you the angle in to provoke.
Okay. Yeah, I think before, when I was thinking about trying to be a distraction to get them past, I was looking at doing a stage fighting directly engage a threat, but I do think the picks have moved over more towards provoke now.
Yeah. So let's have you roll with provoke, and then we'll talk about. And I'm rolling from one move into the other. So let's roll with the provoke. And we'll get the results of that, and I'm going to check in with everybody else. So let's roll superior.
Is an 11.
Oh, look at that. So what is it you want them to do?
It's a 10 for NPCs on a 10+. They rise to the bait and do what you want.
Yeah.
On a 7
what
to
do you
9.
Want to do?
Instead, choose one. I want her to comfort me by assuring me that, like, oh, he's not lost, he's not kidnapped, he's here. Maybe it's too much to push her into like taking me to see him, but at least some concrete reassurances of, oh, don't worry, he's in this place being held for, they can come up with a lie or whatever, but not about where he is.
She's kind of starting to reach out, like her hand, like she might be going to grab you, and you hear from the guy. The guy goes, and her mood kind of changes, and she's like, no, everything's fine. You worried about your friend?
Yes, my dear friend, Sebastian.
He's fine. Actually, he's close by. He just took a little ill from the travel. He'll be back. And she looks at him, and the guy goes, "Tomorrow. He'll be back tomorrow."
You're just saying that. Adults say that. They just make up lies to make you feel better. And he's really gone, isn't he? He's been kidnapped.
She goes, no, he hasn't been kidnapped. I can assure you that he is fine. She goes, my name is August.
Rosa Greaves.
Oh, not of the Greaves family.
Oh, yes. Have you heard of us?
Who hasn't?
It's very true. You're very sweet, and I do feel better. He's close by, though. You say he's very near to here.
Yes, let me take you back to your rooms, get you settled, and I promise you, you have my word that he will be back to you tomorrow.
And when I hear that she's going to take her back to the rooms, that's when I sort of peek around the doorway and I say, "Oh, Rosa," and she kind of looks at the other ones and she goes, "I'm sorry, we didn't have a chance to tell her about all the rules yet." She's very upset.
And she kind of looks at her, and again, her face, which has been kind of, oh yes, she's kind of turned to that. She turns to look at you, and there's that like dark, cold shark eyes for a second on you before she turns back to Rosa and smiles again.
I thank you for being so sweet. They can show me back. You've made me feel a lot better. Thank you.
The guy who's sitting on the couch kind of leans back, puts his arm back, and goes, "Are all of you guys there?"
You see Una look back and she goes, "So Min isn't here."
That's that terrible, stinky animal woman I was telling you about.
And this guy goes, "Well, August will take you back to your room. She'd love to show you guys back. She has a whole matronly side to her." And she looks angry. And the guy goes, "Look, your friend Sebastian will be back tomorrow."
Thank you.
And as August is looking angry, I'm going to sniff up at her again. You're just so very comforting. The next letter I write home, I'm going to tell my dad all about you. You've been by far the best teacher here.
Well, let's just get to be back to your rooms so you can do your studies. And she glides. She's got like that long black skirt that goes to the floor, and you kind of don't see the motion of her like walking, but more that she glides, hovers as she moves up into the hallway where the three of you are at.
Staring squinty daggers at her like he knows there's something else going on, and he's not really trying to hide the fact he's not happy. Because he saw Sebastian.
Okay.
And that was very intense, right? So I think maybe more than the others, he's really like emotionally invested in this.
And I think Una pulls Lionel back, and they keep like Una stays well away from August, if that makes any sense.
And she will carefully usher you back to your rooms. So we'll cut to the scene of her arriving back there. And probably the cut in moment is her going, "Oh, I love what you've done with the place."
The most bland thank you that you could ever imagine from Una.
Rosa has a very good sense of style. And I'm just glaring at her.
And you'll hear from the hallway, "Hey, hey, hey!" And August turns and kind of fades back. And you'll see Miss December. Chef December has kind of come along, and she's dagger-eyeing August. And she kind of comes and pokes her in. "Everything okay?"
She was just leaving. Go ahead, Sherry.
Yep.
And August will fade away. And December comes in. She clearly looks concerned.
It was just so horrible. She was helping me. I don't know. I have these panic attacks where I worry about things that'll happen to me. You know, I come from a very important family, and kidnappings are a really big thing and where I come from. And now one of our classmates has been kidnapped, and she said he wasn't kidnapped, but I don't know. I still feel I feel very scared and vulnerable. Help me.
She says, it's I'd stay away from August if I were you.
Was she lying? Did she do something to Sebastian?
What did she tell you?
She told us that he was sick or needed testing or something and that he'd be back tomorrow, but people say that. They just say that. They just try and get you to shut up.
Did she promise?
Yeah?
Then he'll be back tomorrow.
I see.
I look over at Una, like Una's the one who's been noting all of these important little details, like basically like a write that down kind of look.
And Una says, "Can we help you, Chef December?"
When I talked to you yesterday, it seemed like some of you weren't as familiar with cooking as others.
That's correct. Lionel would like to learn how to make desserts.
Well, I had some time, and I was thinking, it's a little before dinner. Maybe I could, if you want to come down, I can show you some basics.
How to reheat Chinese would be awesome.
Well, and some other stuff, but yeah, if you, that's just if you guys want.
Please.
And she will kind of break to take you down there to eat.
That sounds good. Una's like, just go, like to the others, essentially behind, so that we can be there and get away from whatever eyes August and the other one might have on.
And as we're going on in sort of like whispered side conversations, I will let you know, like, we were so close. They said he was right in a room right around there. We just have to look in that area.
Okay.
Say, I don't like abandoning a mission once I start. I mean, before, I'm one to avoid rule breaking, but we committed.
I want to not want to bite down on bait. But if you guys are set on it, I will back you up. But they specifically said bait.
Look, that wasn't all lies. I don't think they're going to bring him back just because we threw a fit.
And like Rosa said, they might be expecting us to break him out. That might be what passes us to the next course.
She kind of goes, all right, let's just go make dinner and we'll cool down after that.
Okay.
And if you go downstairs, you will head down there, and she'll show you some basic things. How to do eggs, how to reheat things, how to use the microwave, all of that kind of basic stuff. Una, you will note that the Tupperware with the labels on it, those labels have been removed.
And I think that I will say to Chef December, I'll say, and I'll pick up one of those and I'll go, these had people's names on them. Was that the class before us?
She looks at you and she says, I'm not allowed to say.
Okay.
At some point, maybe after dinner or something, but I'd like to get my hands on the Tupperware and see if I can infer any details from there. But if anyone else has anything for dinner time, then go for it.
I don't have anything particular for dinner time.
Okay. So I'll assume that she shows you how to make what do you like brownies, Lionel?
Yeah, some pretty basic baking things.
Okay. Brownies are the easiest. She shows you a no-fail recipe. for doing that, and it will come out really good. And she'll say, "Yeah, that's a good fallback one."
Excellent.
And she actually, when you get all done, she's kind of cleaned up the kitchen and put things away and started the dishwasher. And she'll say, "Well, good night, everybody."
Good night.
Right.
Yep, we'll just find our way back to our rooms now.
That gives her pause for a second.
Innocent, beautiful smile.
And she will head out.
Okay, and on our way back, I go, they said it was bait. I don't know why you guys want to take the bait.
Because ever since we got here, everyone has been thinking they're smarter than us, and they're better than us, and that we can't do shit. Well, we're special too, so damn it, we're going to go free our friend, or whatever he is. Sebastian, right? That was our friend? Yeah, Sebastian.
Beautiful words, Rosa. Bait can mean many things. It could be bait.
No. No, it means one thing. It's on a hook, and it's to catch someone.
It's to catch stupid people, but it's to prove how smart other people are when they get around it.
I can tell you are a true Greaves, Rosa.
Sort of twirls her hair. Look, we'll be careful. We'll be smart about it. And, I mean, we all have, like, superpowers or something, or magic or whatever. What could go wrong?
And you guys will throw open the door to your common room. And you will see Sebastian seated at the table.
Oh, well, come on.
And that's it.
And that's where we're going to end the session right there. Because I want to do end of session questions, get that set, and then I want to do kind of a check-in with everybody on where we're at. I'm assuming that we will have Sebastian back next time, but I don't know because of the Jason's grandmother, and so I don't know what the situation is with that, but we'll see. In any case, Patrick is going to join us again next time, right?
Yay! I would love to.
Yeah. Okay.
Yay.
So let's do the end of session. Let's start with you, Theo. At the end of session, under other mechanics, you get to choose one. Grow closer, grow into your own image of yourself, or grow away because you feel detached.
I think that definitely, Rosa took me up on Patrick took me up on the influence offer of sort of indulging me and sort of assuaging my guilt and my jealousy of, one, failing to help her out, and two, not being too impressed with Ichiro and his classmates. So definitely one to Rosa. I think one to. Is it okay to hand out multiple, lol?
The preference in the system is to hand out just one.
Okay. Then I think that's probably the strongest. I think Rosa continues to have a lot of sway over Theo.
So Rosa can mark that she has an additional influence over Theo. And you can clear a condition or mark potential then.
Oh, yeah. I'll mark potential.
It is badly worded that it ought to be the you there is the person we're asking the original question of.
Right.
Rosa, what about you?
I'm pretty happy with where my labels are at the moment.
Okay.
And I don't feel like I grew away from the class, so I think I grew closer to the class.
Who would you give influence to? Who's kind of has some command over you now?
I think it's Theo again. I think that's going deeper, and I think it sort of started as like he's the most interesting stranger in the class, so I'll make sure I'm attached to him. But he's actually pretty clever and brave, and does actually have a really interesting story. So I think she's giving him more emotional influence over her.
Awesome. You can clear a condition or mark potential.
I don't have any conditions, so potential.
Potential. Sherry, what about you?
I would say I grew closer, and my inclination is actually I was so relieved that Lionel was back, and he's such a good kid that I think that essentially she'd sort of really throw herself out there for him, if that makes sense.
And you two were certainly the ones that were kind of moving to pull back. So Lionel, you can mark influence on Dupe. And Sherry, you can clear a condition or mark potential.
Mark potential.
And finally, Lionel, what about you?
I think Lionel more grew into his image of himself.
Oh, interesting.
Especially with being able to free Rosa from the girls who had stolen her. So I think I'm gonna bump up Savior. And then I think I've also, at least I'm feeling like I have more control over my powers because I've yet to screw up a major roll with them. So I think I'm less of a danger.
I like it. And I think at the end of that session, at the end of that thing, we would cut to a scene not with you guys, but we would see Ichiro, and there's some other people there, and he says, "So the newcomers found the lighthouse. I think we're going to have to stop them." And we would cut to black on that note.
But he's so beautiful. He can't be evil.
I knew it.
Totally evil.
So we've got a couple things on the table. I definitely want to give you a chance to interact with the other students, use your powers for good next time, Rosa. I've put some stuff forward for the rooms that you've already been to, so I hope that's a thing to play up on what you were talking about, Matt. I think I gave you some of the classroom scene stuff, Sherry. I hope that was okay. And I didn't check in with you at the midpoint. I'm very sorry about that, Derek. But now having been back a session, is there anything that you're like, oh, I definitely want to see this next time?
I mean, I really want to see the rooms, so doubling down on that, I would very much be interested in exploring those.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the idea of finding this lighthouse place and what the weirdness there is.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. And we'll do Roses and Thorns at the end of next session because we're at the set time limit for the game here. But anything else you guys want to add? Anything you guys should be thinking about?
I guess just that this is a bit of a rose, even though we're not doing it today, but I just watched the How to Be a Great Player panel for like the third time, and I just want Sherry and Pat, you guys are really upholding what you guys are, practice what you preach, basically. So I just wanted to say that. Great work again, and I loved that panel. Everyone should go check it out.
So good.
Thank you.
I enjoyed the session. Sherry said something interesting about the the problem with games that are discovery based, where you discover things when they're in 4 sessions. It's kind of painful because you're getting all this cool stuff that's out there. You know you're only going to be able to explore a little bit of it. So, anyway, but we'll talk about that next time. And I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.